The steel does not shape itself. The hammer does not wait for your hesitation. The fire does not cool for your fear. Every strike either forges you or shatters you. So tell me, are you iron waiting to rust or a blade waiting to be born? Miyamoto Musashi walked not as a man seeking permission, but as raw iron hurled into the furnace. His life was struck upon the anvil of war, cooled in rivers of solitude, sharpened again and again until nothing remained but an unbreakable edge. At 13, he faced his first duel. His opponent was no boy, but a seasoned warrior of the Shinto-ryu school. Musashi carried no steel, only a wooden sword in his hands. Yet with a single furious strike, he cut the man down. From that moment, the forge of his life roared to life, a boy no more, but iron thrown into fire. If you wait for a map, you remain or buried in the ground. If you rise and strike, you are drawn from the earth, beaten, shaped, hardened. A warrior does not ask the forge to be gentle. A warrior enters the fire willingly. The first secret burns like molten steel. Your path is not discovered. It is hammered into being. You ask, what is my purpose? The answer is this. Purpose is the edge you carve with every repetition, every failure, every strike. The blacksmith does not wonder what the blade wishes to be. He pounds, he tempers, he grinds, and only then does the weapon emerge. And you? How long have you been cooling on the sidelines? How many seasons have you let rust crawl across your spirit? How long will you stay dull, waiting for someone else to lift the hammer? Better to crack under the blows than to rot untouched. The blade that breaks can be reforged. The iron that hides in the shadows only decays. Do not fear striking wrongly. Fear standing still until the ground itself swallows you whole. Musashi left us a command in his dokkodo. Do nothing that is of no use. This is not advice, it is law. The forge obeys the same truth. Impurities must be scraped away, slag must be burned off, or the steel will snap at the first strike. So comes the second secret. Detach from all that clouds your edge. Musashi spoke not only of objects, but of the mind itself. The man who clings to regret, to approval, to softness, drags chains into the fire. The hammer cannot shape steel bound in rope. Cut the rope, throw it into the flames. Detach from regret. What is past is slag, scrape it away. The strike you missed is gone. The duel you lost is already ash. The blade does not weep over yesterday's hammer, it waits for the next. Detach from comfort. Every pillow, every indulgence, every moment of softness is rust crawling along the edge. Even the finest sword, left unsheathed in the rain, corrodes into uselessness. Comfort kills silently. The forge has no cushions. The fire has no mercy. Detach from illusion. The mirror shows you true steel, but most cover it with masks of who they wish to be. Tear the mask away. Stand in the smoke. See what remains when lies burn off like dross in the heat. Musashi cast away what clouded his edge. He abandoned titles, wealth, even the idea of home. He lived in caves, under open sky, in the company of no one but silence and discipline. Why? Because a warrior who carries nothing cannot be deceived. A blade stripped to its core gleams brightest. And so I command you now, be still, breathe. What chains are you still carrying? What illusions cling to your steel? What weight must you throw into the fire so the blade can finally shine? Do not rush this. The silence itself is a hammer. The stillness is its strike. Let it fall. Let it hurt. For only when the dross is burned away will the edge be revealed. Clarity is freedom. Freedom is vision. But even the purest blade, if left unused, is nothing but decoration. The edge is meaningless without the hand that wields it. This brings the third secret. Discipline is the arm that lifts the hammer again and again. Musashi's life was not a single duel. but thousands of strikes. He mastered the katana, yes, but also the spear, the bow, the staff, even brush and ink. Why? Because he knew mastery is not the gift of one strike, but the result of endless repetition. The forge does not strike once. It strikes until the world rings with sparks. Discipline is the rhythm of the hammer. The wolf does not sharpen its teeth once. The pine does not root itself in one season. The steel does not harden in a single cooling. All persist, all endure. The undisciplined man is brittle, iron left half-formed, cracking at the first blow. The disciplined man is tempered, hammered, quenched, sharpened, and unbroken. Do not mistake discipline for chains. Discipline is the furnace of freedom. The man ruled by moods is molten metal spilled on the floor. The man ruled by discipline is a sword resting ready in its sheath. Direction without discipline is fantasy. Vision without practice is dust. You may see the path. You may dream of the edge. But without repetition, you remain formless iron, waiting to be struck but never stepping into the fire. So rise, train, repeat, burn, strike, cool, sharpen, return, endure. Let every day be another blow of the hammer until your very spirit rings like steel when tested. Because this is what it means to walk the way. Not to ask for comfort, not to beg for clarity, not to wait for destiny, but to choose the forge, to embrace the fire, to welcome the hammer, and to emerge as something that cannot be broken. Discipline is not a single act. It is the hammer that falls without end. It is the anvil that never moves, no matter how fierce the blow. It is the rhythm that does not ask if you are tired, if you are inspired, if you are ready. The furnace never asks. The furnace only burns. This is why Musashi trained not in one art, but in all. To him, each discipline was another strike of the hammer, another turn of the tongs, another plunge into the water that hisses and hardens steel. To master one path is to glimpse the way. To master many is to see that the way itself is endless. The undisciplined man imagines that greatness comes from passion, from sudden fire in the heart. He waits for the spark, mistaking it for the forge. But sparks fade in the dark. Sparks scatter and die. Steel is not hardened by sparks. Steel is hardened by staying in the fire, by enduring the heat, by plunging into cold water again and again until it no longer bends. Discipline is not a feeling. It is law. It is the arm that lifts the hammer when the body begs for rest. It is the hand that grips the tongs when the fire sears. It is the mind that grinds the edge upon the stone until sparks fly, knowing the blade is still not sharp enough. And you? How many times have you cooled too soon, pulled from the fire before your form was set? How many times have you dulled your own edge by refusing the grind? How many blades within you never cut because you fled before the quench? Musashi once wrote, "The way is in training, not in waiting, not in dreaming, in training. Daily, relentless, unglamorous training. Do not think of training as punishment. It is tempering. The sword left untrained warps. The body left untrained softens. The mind left untrained rusts. But the trained sword cuts true. The trained body endures. The trained mind sees through smoke and shadow. The wolf sharpens its teeth daily, not once. The pine grips the soil season after season, not only when the sun is gentle. The blade is ground on stone again and again, never satisfied with sharp enough. So must you be. Understand this. The forge of discipline is not only fire and strike. It is also the cooling silence, the patient grind, the endless shaping. The edge is born not of a single act, but of countless unseen repetitions. When Musashi wandered, he was not chasing glory. Each duel, each scar, each night alone in caves or forests was another strike upon his own being. He did not hide from hardship. He sought it. He knew that a blade without resistance cannot be trusted, that only in facing heat and pressure can steel reveal its true strength. So understand, if you flee hardship, you flee the quench. If you hide from repetition, you hide from the grind. If you despise solitude, you despise the silence where the steel hardens. Do not wait for the fire to cool. Do not wait for the blows to soften. Endure. Let the hammer fall. Let the water hiss. Let the grind spark until your spirit is shaped. For discipline is more than endurance. It is precision. The hammer must strike in rhythm. The grindstone must turn in steady circles. The quenching must be timed with care. Strike blindly and the blade warps. Rush the cooling and the edge cracks. Discipline is not only force, it is timing, it is control, it is patience. Too many live like scattered sparks, flaring bright for a breath, then fading to ash. The disciplined are like forged steel, glowing steady, quenched sharp, ground true, polished until no shadow hides in them. Musashi knew this. His discipline was not frenzy, but order. Each cut measured, each step grounded. Each duel entered as calmly as a smith lifts his hammer. This discipline gave him clarity, the ability to see an opponent's intent before the strike, to hold steady when others broke, to cut once and end the battle. So discipline is not only practice, it is vision under pressure. The fire roars, the hammer falls, the water hisses, yet the warrior's hand does not tremble. And I ask you now, when the hammer bears down, when the hiss of quenching burns your skin, when the grind sparks into your eyes, will you hold steady? Or will you break because your steel was never truly tempered? This is why discipline is the arm of direction. Without it, you are raw iron, warped and cracked. With it, you are tempered, hardened, sharpened until no storm can bend you. So step into the forge, not once, not twice, but daily. Each morning another blow, each night another cooling, each choice another grind, each hardship another shaping. In time, you will see what others cannot. Discipline is not your chain, it is your liberation. The man of moods is like molten metal spilling uncontrolled. The man of hunger is brittle, breaking under pressure. The man of fear is slag cast aside. But the man of discipline is steel, sharpened, quenched, grounded, unbroken. Let your days hiss like water on steel. Let your nights spark like blade on stone. Let your life ring with the rhythm of hammer on anvil. And let your edge be honed until you no longer ask where to go. Because the blade does not ask. The blade simply cuts. The steel that endures fire and hammer is not yet complete. It must be quenched in water until the hiss dies out. It must be ground on stone until the sparks fade. It must be polished until the surface reflects light without distortion. Only then does the weapon become whole. So too with you. Discipline is not only to strike again and again, it is to accept the full cycle of the forge. Fire, hammer, quench, grind, polish, over and over until you no longer resemble the raw ore you once were, until your edge no longer lies. Musashi understood this cycle. His duels were fire and hammer. His solitary meditations were the quench. His endless practice with brush and blade were the grind. His life of simplicity, stripped of all illusion, was the polish. Each stage tempered him into something that could not be bent, deceived, or broken. You want direction? Accept the full cycle. Do not cling to fire and fear the water. Do not love the hammer but despise the grind. Each stage has its pain. Each stage has its purpose. Skip one, and you will warp. Refuse one, and you will break. So I ask you, where are you stuck? Do you run back to the fire but flee the quench? Do you crave sparks but avoid the grind? Do you shine for a moment, yet refuse the polish that reveals every flaw? Look closely. Your avoidance reveals your weakness. That is where your forge must begin. There is another truth. Even the sharpest blade must one day face its final strike. No steel, no matter how tempered, escapes time. Musashi himself, undefeated in battle, met death not on the field, but in the silence of his cave at Regando. He died as he lived, sitting upright, blade in hand, spirit unmoved. This is the last teaching of the forge, to accept that even tempered steel will one day return to earth. Many live in fear of that final strike. They clutch at comfort. They drown in distraction. They waste their days hiding from the furnace of mortality. But the warrior embraces it. The warrior knows every strike, every quench, every grind is made sharper because the end approaches. The blade does not weep for rust that will one day claim it. It cuts while it can. Musashi wrote, "The way of the warrior is the resolute acceptance of death. Not despair, not fear, acceptance. For when you accept death, you are free from it. You do not waste your days running from the inevitable. You live them as steel lives in fire, burning, shaping, striking until the very end. To find direction, you must make peace with your end. If you fear it, you will hesitate. You will hold back the strike. You will cling to illusions. But when you accept death, every step forward is clear, unclouded, unstoppable. The forge of life is short. Sparks fly, burn bright, and vanish. The hammer falls, and the sound fades into silence. Do not waste your time wishing the fire were cooler, the blows softer, the grind easier. You cannot control the forge. You can only enter it willingly. Musashi's life shows this again and again. He did not seek to extend his days with softness. He sharpened them with hardship. He lived ready to die at any moment. And because of this, he never faltered in battle. His edge was never dulled by hesitation. And so must you. Accept the final strike. Live so that when it falls, your steel rings true one last time. Tell me, if death came tonight, would your blade be ready? Would your form be true, your edge sharp, your strikes remembered? Or would you be found as raw iron, half-formed, still waiting to enter the fire? The acceptance of death is not the end of direction. It is the final clarity. Once you no longer fear the last blow, you are free to walk any path with strength. The mountain no longer frightens you. The river no longer delays you. The storm no longer shakes you. You are tempered steel, cutting forward without hesitation. Direction is not a gift. It is not a secret map. It is forged in fire, purified in detachment, hardened in discipline, and sharpened by the acceptance of death. When the end is accepted, every step is freedom. Every strike is presence. Every moment is clarity. This is the summit Musashi reached. Alone in his cave, body broken, yet spirit sharp. He left behind no treasures, no titles, no wealth, only words. Words that cut through centuries like the edge of a blade. Words that command you now as they commanded him then. Do nothing that is of no use. You must understand, the way is not a destination. It is the forge itself. Each day, another fire. Each hardship, another hammer. Each silence, another quench. Each repetition, another grind. Each truth, another polish. Until the very end. So do not wait for a map. Do not fear the flames. Do not cling to the slag that blurs your edge. Step forward. Burn. Strike. Harden. Sharpen. Cut. Because the forge does not wait. The hammer is already falling. The fire is already burning. The water is already hissing. The stone is already grinding. And you? Will you remain ore, buried and useless? Or will you enter the forge and emerge as the blade you were meant to be? So I ask you one last time, what is your cut? What is the strike you will live for, train for, die for, without hesitation? Do not lie to yourself. The forge does not accept excuses. The hammer does not pause for your weakness. The fire does not cool for your delay. If you do not choose, life will strike for you, and the blow will not shape you. It will shatter you. Choose, accept, strike. Do not answer me with words. Do not answer me with promises. Answer with the way you rise tomorrow. Answer with the fire you step into today. Answer with the steel you choose to become now. Because the way does not wait. The hammer is falling. The fire is roaring. The water is hissing. The stone is grinding. And the forge is calling. So stand, not as rusted ore, but as tempered steel. Not someday. Now. And when your final blow comes, as it came for Musashi, as it will come for us all, let it fall upon steel that rings clear. Steel that lived its purpose. Steel that cut true.